Hello again, and we have got today a beer from Home Bargains. Yes, indeed. Now, Home Bargains, obviously, they've got a reputation for craft beer, which is a bit dodgy, let's face it. And a lot of the beers that they've brewed, a lot of beers that they've sold are Home Bargains, a lot of the craft ones. They've been sold for about £1 a can, that kind of thing. And at that kind of price point, it's clear you can't brew a decent beer. And generally, it seems that the ones at Home Bargains were kind of brewed at a price point. Now, I'm starting to see better beers, well, sort of more expensive beers, should we say, at Home Bargains, which clearly would have been brewed at a slightly higher price point, so maybe better. But I don't know, I've not tried them yet, but I do intend to try them. They're around about the £2 mark for a little can, which again is not particularly cheap for a little can. So they still have the same, old ones where they're getting like a big can for like £1.25. You know that's going to be absolutely naff, and a lot of the time it is. But there was one beer though that was £1.25 a can that really caught my eye, and it was this one. Now, I had a little look online, and it seems that people have been reviewing this about a year ago. It was in B&M. So it's not like this is new, because I thought it was new. It's the first time I'd ever seen it. And it's called Monastere. And it's a double. It says Monastere Double. It's 6.4%, and it looks like it's pretending to be, at least, a double Abbey beer. So you're thinking kind of Westmaler, that kind of thing, Chimay Red, those kind of Abbey doubles. It's almost like La Trappe. It's almost trying to push it, trying to palm itself off as something as one of them, really. Now, I think a lot of people might agree with me. How on earth do you brew a beer like that for £1.25 for a 500ml can? So I was starting to think, how have they managed to do this? Why is this being so cheaply? Is it going to be absolutely terrible? That's the thing. Is it going to be terrible? How do I know? So you'd think that it would be, but I thought it's worth £1.25 just to have a go and just to see whether this is absolutely terrible. Now, from what I've seen about it, I've had a little look at this and just think about how on earth they can sell now something that can market itself as an Abbey double beer for £1.25 for a 500ml can. And it looks like I think it's brewed just sort of like really mass produced. So it's brewed en masse. It says here that it's it mentions, I think on the front there, yeah, under license of the Crespin Abbey in France. And it mentions something about the recipe as well there. So it's almost like they're using a recipe from an abbey in France, and then it's being brewed under license from this abbey in France, but produced in some factory in the Netherlands by the look of it. Okay, so it's it could be any kind of beer factory in the Netherlands who's obviously brewing this on a massive scale. And I think it's just like a mass-produced Abbey beer, I think, is why it's cheaper. But £1.25 for a 500ml can does seem even cheaper than that. It's like, that's not just a mass-produced Abbey beer. There's something, I don't know, it's even cheaper than that. So at the end of the day, this could end up being a sink pour, let's face it, or it could end up being incredible value for money, depending on your viewpoint. So anyway, Monastere. There you go. And they had a blonde one as well, which I did pick up, which I'll probably review as well. But I thought, Monastere, Belgian Abbey beer. It's just kind of like own label Abbey beer kind of thing. It's imported from the Netherlands, so it's not, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying there, but it's not like someone's over here trying to do something with, do something they're not capable of. Let's have a see. Let's crack it open anyway. So I'm going to give this a go. Bit of smoke on the opening there, and I'm going to be unbiased on this, okay? Now, don't know why I went over there. To give it a fighting chance, I'm going to use my Westvleteren glass. There, if you can see that, my pride and glory. I don't really put many beers in this. Westvleteren, I've had a couple of theirs in the past. As people know, was widely considered to be the best beer in the world for a long time. Now, obviously, there's so much out there. Is that the case? Who knows? I've got a bottle of the Westvleteren 12 in the garage at the moment, keeping nice and cool, keeping nice and dark. We'll open it one day. I want to age it for a while, so Lord knows when I'll open that, but when I do, I'll review it on the stream. So anyway, this is the old Westvleteren glass. Let's pour it in. It's just like I was pouring in a really fine Belgian Abbey beer. Probably stop about there so I can get a bit of the nose there. So let's have a see. Got the hands the wrong way around again. Let's pop the can over there, and let's have a see what this is all about. So now looking at it, it's a nice colour. It's a nice colour. It's that nice ruby red colour. It's got a relatively decent head. You don't get a massive head in this glass because it's quite wide. It doesn't really narrow towards the top. You tend to get a bigger head in those kind of glasses. It's holding the head fairly well, I'd say. It's not just disappearing. And I say, to be honest, the way I poured that there, I poured it quite gently. I imagine that if I gave it a bit more, I'd have a bit more of a head on there. So already I'm smelling that. And I am getting those kind of smells you get with a Belgian Abbey beer. I'm getting the black cherry. Getting a little bit of Marmite, which I tend to get with some of these beers. Bit of chocolate, bit of coffee. And to be honest, this smells nice. If I opened a bottle of some, I don't know, posh looking Belgian Abbey beer that I got from a bottle shop, you know, scent whatever, double, and I'd never seen it before, and I opened it, I would be like, yeah, this might be worth the £3.50 I paid for it. From the smell alone, I am impressed. I wouldn't say that smells any worse than most of the other, you know, Abbey beers that I've had. You know, don't get me wrong, I very much doubt this will be another Rochefort 6 or whatever, but who knows. So yeah, we're getting chocolate, we're getting coffee, we're getting a little bit of caramel, we're getting black cherry. I always get with these. Getting quite a bit of malt coming through there. It smells reasonable. It really does. Okay, let's go in for the taste. Cheers. So on the taste, that's just the one going there. It's a little bit thinner than I would expect, but again the flavours are still there. I'll have another go. Yeah, you're getting them flavours. The flavours are there. It's nicely balanced. It's relatively smooth, but a little bit fizzy, so it keeps it lively there on your tongue. Yeah, the flavours are all there. You've got the chocolate, you've got the black cherry, you've got a little bit of caramel there, you've got a little bit of coffee. It's a little bit bitter on the finish, but it's also quite smooth. I think one thing I would say, it is a bit thin. There could be a little bit more flavour in there for it, I think. But I'd say for the price, it's decent, very decent. Yeah, I'd say that's a very pleasant beer. That's a very pleasant beer. It's got the flavour. It's got all the tastes that you expect from an Abbey Double. It's going down a treat. To be honest, in a nice glass like this, out in the garden, nice hot day, or indeed, you know, in the winter, in those winter months, by a roaring fire, this would be very, very pleasant indeed. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to pay 3 times as much and get yourself something that's got more flavour and something that's a bit smoother and something that's, you know, altogether a better quality of beer, then by all means knock yourself out. But at the end of the day, if you've got £1.25 burning a hole in your pocket at Home Bargains, then I would certainly recommend this over any other beer I've got from Home Bargains so far. That's not including some of the, you know, the bigger name beers and stuff like that. You can get Budvar in Home Bargains and stuff like that. So, you know, not including those obviously, but if any beers that you've seen in Home Bargains that you've never seen before, this is the best I've had so far. So time to rate it then. So quality. Now, in quality wise, it's not amazing, but it's decent. All the flavours are there, and I'd say it's on the CB borderline, I would say, for quality. Thinking about what I've given some of the other beers, I'd be happy to give that one a B- for quality. Now, value. is an interesting one. Now, just drinking that now, it's a little bit sharp. It is a little bit sharp. It's not quite as smooth as some of the better ones are. But it's £1.25 for an enormous can now. Well, for a 500ml can. Now, 500ml can. To me, these should be sold in 330ml bottles, not 500ml cans. 500ml of this, I think, is quite a lot to drink in one go. You know, you don't really do a pint of a beer like this, really. But I would say, to be honest, on value, I'm going to put this up there, and I'm going to give this one for value. I mean, it's worth at least twice, I think, what it costs. I think it's as good as a beer twice the price. Would I give it an A+ for value? Is it that good for value? I'm going to give this one an A. Okay, so I'll give this one an A for value. I was tempted to give it an A+ just because it is so cheap for what is a very decent beer. I've got to say, you know, I've had much worse Abbey Doubles that I've paid £2.75, £3.50 for. So to be honest, you know, on that respect, it's really tempting to give it an A+. But these, you know, these ratings, what do they mean exactly? So I'm going to give this one an A for value. Altogether, a very pleasant brew. Pretty much every time I've tasted this now, it's given me something different. And the thing is, as it's warming up, it's straight from the fridge this, but as it's warming up, it's getting smoother, it's getting more flavourful. And for that reason, I'm going to change the rating, and I'm going to give it an A+ for value. So there you go, an A+ for value. And will I change the quality on it? I'll leave the quality as is, but there you go. Right, I'm going to finish this off now. Until next time, have a good one.